Welcome, Maz here. I hope you're having a splendid day. Today's video is a special one for me because the kind folks at Next Level Racing reached out and asked if I wanted to review one of their products, or it's actually three products. So we have the monitor stand, mounted monitor stand, we have the GTElite Wheel Plate Edition cockpit, and we do also have the ERS1 seat. And I couldn't say no to that because, as you may or may not know, on this channel we mainly talk about car related topics, tracking, car modifications, car detailing, review of different things and cars. And also I do have a 2019 MX-5 and we have EVs coming in as daily, so that is coming up as well. But I couldn't say no to exploring more in the sim racing community and hopefully being able to give back some to the community through this type of channel, then with reviews and impressions and so on. And that's why then I said yes to doing this type of video. And as you may or may not know, Next Level Racing do have a plethora of different cockpits, wheel stands, monitor stands, flight cockpits, motion platforms, and today then we will be reviewing mainly from a cockpit perspective the GTElite Wheel Plate Edition. They do also have a front and side mount edition of this cockpit, and which is more suitable for direct drive wheels. And I'm saying that at the same time as I'm looking at my Simucube 2 Pro, and that is mounted to the wheel plate. We'll see how that goes, but again then the front and side mount might be more suitable if you have a direct drive wheel. That cockpit or that version costs 100 euros more here in Europe at least, so that is something to consider. But clicking the link below in the description, it's no affiliate link, you will get the products with Next Level Racing do offer, and also more detail with regards to pricing, etc. What we will be doing in today's video is try to structure the video in different sections. So we have this introduction. I will have one section talking about the profiles, the hardware that is included, and then we will do an assembly section talking about the instructions, how do the things line up, is it any difficult, tips and tricks if any, and then we will have a driving section speaking of how it is to actually do sim racing in this cockpit and in this seat and with the monitor stand, and then we will wrap the video up with some conclusions. If you found today's video informational or do like it, give it a big thumbs up. Do leave comments, questions, concerns, or whatever and whatnot. I like to be interactive, so please do so, and do remember to subscribe if you like this type of content, and hit the bell icon to stay notified for future videos. But with that said, let's get on with the video. Before we continue to the assembly part, I just wanted to briefly talk about what is included from a hardware perspective when it comes to the profiles themselves, and also bolts and nuts and so on. And if this is the first time you're seeing something like this, or if you have seen it but you're wondering what this is, so usually then these type of profiles are called aluminum extrusion profiles, and they are mainly used in industrial applications, but they have now been, they have in some time been adopted to sim racing gear as well. And in my opinion, they have two major benefits. One being it is a super flexible system because you can add anything to anything, more or less. Not really, but you get the idea. You can add peripherals, you can build monitor stands, you can build the cockpit and the seat sliders and pedal trays and so on and so on. It is a super flexible system, and also then you can cut them to the lengths you want. And the other main benefit with this type of aluminum profile is once it is assembled together, it becomes a very rigid piece, and barely any flex or bending do occur. And it obviously depends on the height and how much material there is, but it is a very, very sturdy system once you have it assembled together then. And what you have in front of you is, to the right is a profile I have on my SimLab GT1 Evo cockpit, and to the right we do have a profile that was included in the GTElite cockpit. And if I do angle this up, you will hopefully see there is a substantial difference in material used in the walls of the profiles. So the SimLab one is do have much more material in the walls compared to the GTElite. We will see if that has any impact on the flex or bending. And what I need to mention then is, you may or may not know, then in roof trusses or joists, the height do have an impact how much the profile then can withstand bending forces up and down. So the higher profile you have, the more it can withstand bending forces. But obviously that also has to do with how much material you have in the actual profile itself. So we will see if that has any impact or not. And what we mainly have for the cockpit base is in my GT1 Evo and also in the GTElite is a 80 times 40 profile, so 80 millimeters in height and 40 millimeters in width. But we do also have 40-40 profile, so it will be half the size. We have that for our pedal base plates and where we mount the base plates, where for the monitor stand and so on. We will see that in the assembly. And also what you can see is that we have these type of channels, and these channels are then used to insert T-nuts. So they look like this. So these are the ones that come with SimLab, so they look like this. And the ones that come with the GTElite are like this. And you can see there's a quite substantial difference in size. And also you can see there's a quite substantial difference in size in the channels themselves between the two systems then. And what you do then is to insert the T-nuts from the ends, or in the SimLab case, you can actually insert it from the top as well to have a more easy installation. For me, that is a great benefit compared to the GTElite, where we unfortunately only can add the T-nuts from the end of the profiles. That may or may not be of an issue, but if you want to add peripherals later on where you need to bolt something to the profile, and if this portion is then covered, you are not able to enter anything to the profile itself or the channel. You need to disassemble that part or profile you have here or whatever it might be in order to be able to insert the T-nut. And what you then do is, once the T-nut is installed, you then can assemble your bolt into it and it will secure down. So that's a great benefit with this type of system then. As I mentioned, it's very flexible, so you can move things, you can add things later on. Also, as you can see, the T-nuts do have this type of spring-loaded ball. So once the T-nut is inserted into the channel, this ball then springs back and holds the T-nut in place in the channel itself. And what I need to also cover is that with the SimLab GT1 Evo cockpit, we have a bunch of these type of corner brackets where we then can assemble two different pieces together. If I just wanted to show you something like this then. But on the GTElite cockpit, we do not have, on the cockpit itself, we do not use any of these type of brackets. It's only in an application for the monitor stand I will show you. Everything else is bolted together with plates if we talk about the uprights for the wheelbase and so on. And what is really neat with the Next Level Racing is then everything is super nicely packaged. We will see that in assembly as well. Everything is labeled, so you know what type of washers, what type of bolts and nuts you need to use, and it is clearly stated in the manual. And it is mainly these type of M8 bolts, 16 millimeters with M8 washers, and the T-nuts then to mount most of the things together. And you do also get different type of tools, which is handy if you don't have it by yourself. And also we do have a spirit level included as well for making sure that everything is straight if need be, or wherever it's need be. And this would then be used on the wheel base plate as an example. We do also have this type of handy cable holders, so they go into the slots, and then you would enter your cables here for a nice cable management. And again, then if this is covered, you can then obviously not position the cable holder into the channel. And we do also have these type of end plates. Use them because when an aluminium profile as this is cut, then it can be very sharp edges and you can damage yourself really badly. So you would mount these end plates. So these are in plastic, so they might wear over time. You would then enter them into the side like this, and as you can see, there is a cutout for the T-nut itself. So that is that with regards to the hardware which is included in the kit, and some comparison to the GT1 Evo from SimLab then. So with that said, let's get on with the assembly. Now let's talk about the assembly process, and usually when I do this type of sections, then I explain in detailed steps. You do this, you do that, you do this. But in this case, it was not necessary because the instruction manuals are really simple to follow. And if you do follow them from A to B, even though if it's the first time you're doing this, or if you're a seasoned pro when it comes to rig mounting, it is actually an easy and simple process. And I'm not just saying that because this was sent out to me. That is actually the case, and also you do have a 2D barcode which you can scan with your phone, and you will have a video of the installation process for the part or the section that you are on then with regards to the cockpit, or if it's the monitor, or if it's the seat. So starting off with that part, really great. It's an A+, to be honest. The GT1 Evo cockpit was not difficult to assemble either, but the instructions on the Next Level Racing are next level in my opinion. So it's a really great thing that they included it with that detail. If we start with the cockpit itself, everything came nicely packaged in one larger box. Everything is labeled, so following the steps in the instruction manual makes it much simpler, because you know exactly which bolt, nut, washer and so on to use for each of the steps. Everything on the cockpit itself lined up perfectly. There were no holes that were misaligned. The T-nuts went in well. There are no metal shavings, which I have seen during my installation. So from that aspect, everything is good to go. There is one thing, or some things with regards to the aesthetics point of view of things, is that some of the holes on the uprights and on the frame have actually been drilled after the fact of the coating. So there is some bare metal shining through, which is not that nice from an aesthetical point of view when everything is nicely packaged in black then. I just wanted to mention that. It's not a major thing, but still. If we then move on to the upright assembly, the uprights themselves are fastened to the frame with two larger plates. They do measure 6 millimeters, and I have not experienced any flex and so on. Once everything has been bolted down, we will see once we start driving if we do experience any flex. And then we have the wheel plate then, which attaches in between the two uprights. And as I mentioned, there is a front and side mount option for direct drive applications then, but in this case I do have the wheel plate, and I had to make some adjustments to my front mount for my Simucube 2 Pro. I have added some extra washers to make the front mount a little bit wider, so it did match up with existing holes on the wheel plate. The wheel plate itself has a bunch of different holes, so it should support most of the belt-driven wheelbases out there. Check out Next Level Racing's website to see the compatibility. And also on the uprights, as you can see, we have laser etched markings, which makes the installation of the wheel plate simpler, because we can then have a quick symmetric installation of the wheel plate from side to side then. And also the wheel plate itself can be tilted forth and back, because we do have two mounting points on each side of the wheel plate to the uprights. And the wheel plate itself do have reinforcements then running across the whole border of the wheel plate itself to reduce flex. Now looking at pedal assembly, we do have two 40/40 profiles that do attach to the same plate which we do have the uprights, and in the front we do have a bracket which gives us the possibility to tilt the whole assembly up and down. And these two 40/40 profiles can be shifted forth and back for flexibility. And on top of these 40/40 profiles, we do have two plates that do measure 3 millimeters in thickness. And these plates do have slots in them where we are supposed to assemble our pedals or any other plate you might want to assemble on top of them. And as you can see, I have assembled my Heusinkveld Sprint pedals, and I have mounted those to my SimLab pedal plate, and I have attached that to the plates that are attached to the 40/40 profiles. And as we do have these slots in these plates, and also that everything can be shifted forth and back, it gives us a tremendous amount of flexibility with regards to the seating position or the reach with regards to the pedals, and also the inclination and so on. So that is a really nice feature. And as you can see, we do also have laser etchings in these 40/40 profiles to have everything symmetrical from side to side, so we can actually shift everything forth and back if need be without having any binding with regards to the mounting points then. Next is to talk about the seat assembly. As you can see, it came in a larger package and the seat was divided into two different sections. I would wait with matching them together because there are two bolts at the back end which will be difficult to reach if the seat rest part is attached to the base. And once you are done with that, then you can attach the seat rest to the the base itself. And also, as the ERS1 comes with built-in seat slider, you need to shift the seat slider itself in order to be able to access the bolts, which do then attach to the 40/40 profiles. And turning the seat upside down, you can more easily shift the seat forth and back because it is not bolted down. However, I need to mention that the bolts that did come in the package for the seat that are to be used attaching the seat to the 40/40 profiles did not actually match into the seat slider. They came with a larger style flat head then, and they did not fit into the seat slider. Fortunately, I had some spare M8 bolts which I could use then to attach the seat to the 40/40 profiles. Next, let's look at the mounted monitor stand, and in general it is a really sturdy construction, but we'll see if there is any wiggle or vibrations and so on in the monitor itself, as the monitor stand is then directly mounted to the cockpit itself. The monitor stand is attached to the wheel deck uprights through two 80/40 profiles through two 3mm plates, and as you can see, we have laser etchings on these profiles as well, so we can shift everything forth and back symmetrical. And on top of these two profiles, we do have two 40/40 profiles which do also have laser etchings for the crossbeam that goes across, which then attaches to your monitor, and you can have everything shifted up and down symmetrical, and we can use the laser etchings as well. Getting a 49-inch monitor up there by yourself, I would not recommend that. I did that and it was a mouthful, so if you can get help, do get help. And the crossbeam is held in place with a corner bracket on each side and also through bolts and through T-nuts, so everything is bolted down really nice and securely. However, as you can see, the monitor itself is sitting quite a bit behind the wheel itself. I would like to have it closer, but I don't think it is possible with the construction of the wheel deck uprights that we have, and also with the construction of the monitor stand itself. As you can see, the monitor could potentially come higher up, but then it would be too high up considering where I'm sitting. Then I would need to raise my seat, and then I would need to raise the wheel deck plate, and we would have the same type of challenge again. If you have found a way to actually have the monitor closer to the wheel with this setup, let me know in the comment sections below, but I haven't found a way to actually get it closer without risking to damage anything then. And also, as you can see, the two wheel deck uprights do obstruct some parts of the view. I don't know if a smaller monitor would work better because it could potentially be in between the uprights, or we could have the monitor higher up, but I want to have the monitor at my eye level, so that would not be an option for me, at least unless everything would be shifted upwards, but then also the wheel would be shifted upwards as well. We have now reached the section which in my opinion is the most important, and that is how everything feels while we are driving, and I will try to structure this. We will talk about the cockpit itself, we will talk about the wheel plate, we will talk about the pedal assembly, the shifter assembly, then we will cover the monitor stand and the seat. But for the field of view police out there, please do bear with me. I've just set everything up. I'm running it on my laptop and not on my desktop PC, so everything is not set up as I would like it maybe then. So if you have any comments about it, don't leave them in the comment sections below, but I have set it now so you know it. If we start with the wheel plate assembly and the uprights and what's holding the wheel base itself, I have not felt any flex while driving, which is really great because the wheel plate itself is not intended maybe for direct drive wheels, as we have a front and side mount option for that. But the uprights, the wheel plate, I have not felt any specific vibration or bending or flexing. Maybe that is something that is captured during or in the recordings, but while driving it is nothing that I have felt. And I need to mention that I am not running the motor on its highest strength, so because I cannot drive it in that way with the settings I have not felt any flex. But if you're running on a higher setting or a different wheelbase, maybe you will experience some flex or bending, but again, that I have not felt anything while driving. If we jump over to the pedal assembly, and as I mentioned earlier, I have my SimLab GT1 Evo wheel plate, and on top of that I have mounted my Heusinkveld Sprint pedals and also the heel plate, and that whole assembly has been mounted to the GTElite pedal assembly. And similar to the wheel plate, I have not felt any flex in the pedal assembly while driving. Maybe again then it can be captured on video, but it is nothing that I have felt, and mainly during the brake application where we want to have as stiff as possible with regards to the pedal assembly. And I need to mention that I'm running at around 60 kilograms of force and a medium setting rubber bushing, so it's not the stiffest brake setup out there. So if you have something, or I don't know, running at around 120 kilos and with a super stiff bushing, maybe you will experience flex. But again, then with the setup I'm running, I have not encountered any flexing in the pedal assembly, which is great. If we jump over to the shifter assembly, it is a sturdy assembly in itself. However, while we are shifting gears, we do have some wiggle in the monitor, and also we do feel it in the seat back, and also there is a resonance and a clunky feel in the whole cockpit itself. I have similar in my GT1 Evo cockpit. I don't know if there's a way of getting around it because everything is in aluminum and metallic, so to speak. Maybe an upright from the frame to the holder or the shifter would maybe take care of that, but I'm not sure. However, the shifter assembly itself then again is rigid and sturdy, and it gives a little bit of an immersion maybe then that you have this clunking sound through the cockpit. But yeah, if we talk about the monitor stand, so the monitor stand, as you have seen, is directly mounted to the uprights for the wheel plate and to the cockpit itself. So while we are shifting gear and while we are braking, or when we have some rumble in the from the wheelbase, then there is some wiggle and there is some shaking in the monitor itself, but it is nothing that I've experienced while driving. If you look at it in the footage, or if you specifically look for it, you will see it. But again, then while driving, it is nothing that I've experienced. And these two towers, then the uprights for the wheel plate, which we talked about earlier, I can see them obstructing the monitor as such. But again, then while driving, it is nothing that I have been thinking of, because with the seating position I have and also the cockpit view, etc., these are actually in the cockpit itself and it's not obstructing the view of the track. But I just wanted to mention it. They are still there, so depending on how you're sitting and also the cockpit settings you have, maybe they will be more intrusive than what I have experienced. But what I need to mention then, I believe the monitor is sitting too far back. I would like to have it closer for the immersion while driving. So that would be the main drawback with the monitor stand, in my opinion. Then, if we then cover the seat, so the material of the seat is nice in itself. I don't know if it's suede or not. It has held me quite cool. And also what is nice with this seat is that we can have it positioned to the way of our liking, because we have a built-in seat slider, and also we can incline and recline the seat back, which is nice. But it is a major drawback with regards to the seat back. We do have quite a bit of flex in the seat assembly, unfortunately, due to having that option of reclining and inclining the seat back. And in my opinion, that takes away from the driving experience, and mainly during braking. It actually makes it a little bit difficult to feel if we do have flex in the pedal assembly or not, because while I'm braking, the whole seat then tilts backwards, or the seat back tilts backwards due to the forces from my leg then while braking. So that is a shame. But again, then if you're not looking for the last percentage while braking, if you're not super serious about it and you feel that a seating position is more important, then maybe this type of seat is for you. But otherwise, I would go for a fixed seat to actually get that last percentage and also the feel and immersion while mainly then braking them. And also we do have a really nice option for the seat assembly itself. We do have these ratchet type style of clamps then, which we can loosen, and then we can shift the whole seat assembly forth and back to the way we would like it, and that gives us even more flexibility with regards to the seating position, which is really nice. So it is time to conclude the video, but before we continue, I once again want to thank Next Level Racing for sending this kit out for me to review. So 2 big thumbs up for that. And if we talk about the rig itself, if we talk about the assembly process first, everything came nicely packaged, everything was labeled nicely, the instructions were superb, everything bolted nicely together, we didn't have any metal shavings, nothing was damaged, so it was a really great experience with regards to the assembly. The rig itself is sturdy, I did not experience any flex, we can shift things up and down, tilt things, we can move the pedal assembly, we can move the seat assembly, The seat itself has seat slider and inclination and reclination of the seat back, so it gives us great flexibility. And also we do have the shifter mount included in the kit, which is a great bonus. Usually that is an extra cost then. But for me personally, I would go for a freestanding monitor stand, so I could move the monitor to the way I would like it, and also for that last extra % of immersion, and also mainly during braking, the brake feel, I would also opt for a fixed seat. But all in all, it is a great package, and if you do have any questions at all, just hit me up in the comment sections below and I will try to answer them the best I can. If you did like today's video, give it a big thumbs up, and do remember to subscribe for future content. Well, with that said, I'll be seeing you on the next one.